public concern mounting, Toronto Mayor John Tory has made a wide-ranging call to not only police and all levels of government, but also residents themselves to help fight a spate of gun violence on our streets. Mayor John Tory joins us now to talk about this. Just looking at the numbers, to date so far, we have surpassed we're double the number of fatal gun shootings than what we saw in comparison to last year. I know you're concerned about this.
Well, I am. You can't help but be concerned. I think any number above zero is of concern. But this is a trend that's been happening in big cities across North America, and nobody knows exactly why. Here, it's related very much a lot of the time to gang activity and retaliatory and targeted killings that are taking place and so on. But the bottom line is we've got to deal with it. And so what I did yesterday was simply to say, look, it's all hands on deck here. We need the federal government to help us, which they've said they're willing to do with the flow of illegal guns in here. Half the guns seized in connection with some of these crimes are from outside the country. We need the two governments, federal and provincial, to help us with programs to keep the young kids, especially who are out of school soon, positively occupied over the summer. We need to. There's an idea that came up yesterday saying, well, why shouldn't we take away the liquor license, have a hearing and take away the liquor license of places that harbor people that use and carry guns? That's an idea worth pursuing because there is no magic wand on this. There is no sort of single solution where people say, aha, if we just do that, we'll stop all of this. So we've got to do everything, I think, that we can think of to try and stem what is a trend that is disturbing, recognizing that Toronto is still a very safe city, the biggest safe city probably in North America, if not the world. But, the trend line is not, is very disconcerting.
And these are similar initiatives, the one you just mentioned there. They're similar initiatives that were brought about after the Summer of the Gun. That was back in 2005. Following that, a couple hundred officers were, a couple more hundred officers were put out on the street. The Guns and Gangs Task Force was brought about. Did that make a difference?
I think it continues to make a difference, and I think that we have to find a different way to address it now, though, than we did perhaps 10 or 12 years ago. And I think when you see me saying that we need to get permission to use non-police officers, civilians, as they do in Vancouver and Chicago and so on, to manage traffic and monitor left turns, that's instead of just saying, well, let's go out and hire more police officers, because I think we're past the stage where we can just keep hiring and hiring and hiring. And what we have to do is redeploy the police officers we have better on violent crimes and things that are, real police work for highly trained police officers. So I'm looking to get the province to say to us it's okay to hire civilians to do some of these other things we occupy police officers doing now, so that we can have the police officers fully deployed in neighborhoods to get after the gangsters and the thugs, but also to just have that presence that reassures people.
I know a gun amnesty program has been brought about. Again, the idea that we've done this as well before.
Yep, and I've been lukewarm on those because their effectiveness has been limited, but I am in no position to say, as the mayor of the city and trying to work with the police and others to stem this trend, that we should rule it out. So we'll try it again and try to do it better and get more people, including in particular some of the relatives. There are relatives and friends of gang members who know where there are guns hidden in houses, and those are the people you really want to bring in the guns and turn them in, as opposed to somebody who might have inherited a gun from an old uncle from World War II. Those guns you don't want lying around either, because it can end up being stolen and being used in a crime. And the other thing, Carolyn, is this. We really, really need the public to cooperate in this. Every one of these shootings that happen, especially in very unusual locations, somebody saw something, and they may not have realized at the time that it was important, or some of them may be afraid to come forward, but we need the public's help to actually provide us with information, things they saw, things they know about, because a lot of the times the knowledge is there. We need the help of the province to help get some of these drug dealers out of the Toronto community housing and other neighborhoods. Right now it's difficult to evict them. The people in the neighborhoods know who's dealing drugs, and it's people coming into those communities to buy drugs that end up doing the shooting. So it's all hands on deck here, and I think we can fight this, but you certainly can't just give up and shrug your shoulders and say, well, that's the way it is in a big city. That's not the way it is in Toronto, and it's not the way it's going to be.
All right, John Tory, thank you for coming in.